Hey guys, so welcome to my college decision video. My hair was just in a ponytail. That's why it's like this. And I'm kind of making this video like on a whim. My actual shirt for the college I'm going to is left in my dad's house, currently in my mom's house. But I have this shirt that it doesn't even say what school it is, but now you know I'm in the honors program. Anyway, I am going to the Grand Canyon University. A year ago, I didn't even know it existed. Like, I live in Georgia, and in Georgia, it's just not a common school at all. I had literally never heard of this school in my life. So, how did I go from not knowing anyone who's ever gone there and never hearing it to suddenly, this is my dream school? I will explain. So, when I started applying for college, one school that really stood out to me was University of Miami. Especially because I like their Spanish program. They're really good for people who like to write. I love writing. So I really wanted to go to University of Miami for a while. So I applied to about 10 schools, and towards the end, it kind of all came down to University of Georgia, Mercer, University of Miami, Liberty, and Grand Canyon University, which is not a small list. For most people, that's about the amount that they applied to in total, but for me, that was about like a third of the schools I applied to, because I have been considering so many. As I was doing this college search, I was like, maybe I should apply to a Christian school. So I was like, let's go to Google. So I just Googled Christian schools. I already knew about Liberty. So I had already applied and been accepted to Liberty, but Liberty is pretty expensive. So it's kind of like, do I want to go there? But when I Googled Christian college, the very first thing that comes up is the Grand Canyon University. So I was like, oh, okay. So I clicked on it, and to get into their website, you have to put in like your email address and phone number. So I just did that without really thinking that much about it, and I kind of forgot about it. Like I didn't think I was going to apply there because I had never heard of it in my life. I was like, is this even a real school? So I just put that stuff in, but later my admissions counselor started calling me, and he convinced me to apply because the application is free. So I was like, well, why not? So I applied, and I still didn't think I was going to go there. But the more I heard about it, the more I started to like it. I watched a bunch of videos on it, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really nice school. It's Christian. And also, it's super cheap. They gave me amazing scholarships. So I was starting to be like, wow, this could actually be a possibility, even though it's across the country. Another thing about it that drew to me was that it's in Arizona, and I absolutely love warm weather. And the final thing that really drew me to GCU was I was writing a scholarship essay, and it was about community service. So I was talking about a mission trip I did once to Honduras, and while I was writing about the mission trip, I explained that it had been one of my goals for a really long time to learn Spanish so that I could be a translator at a mission trip, which is why I studied abroad in Spain. I spent so much time studying Spanish, all so I could do this mission trip and be a translator. And then I was thinking about, like, while I was writing this essay, I was writing about all the things we did on the mission trip. And as I started to write about them, I realized we didn't do that much. I was thinking about how the people that we saw in Honduras had lives so different from mine. They didn't have opportunities. There were little 14-year-old girls being sold into marriage. They had no opportunities, and I have every opportunity in the world. I could be anything I want to be when I grow up. And literally all we did on this mission trip was put concrete on the ground. And as I was watching these like girls who were literally getting ready to go marry men they've never met, who were way older than them, I was writing this essay, and I was like, how does this help them? Concrete is temporary. That's not gonna last. And I started to write it, and I started to just feel really guilty. I was like, we didn't even help them. And it was making me really sad as I read this essay. But then I started to realize they cried when we left. Like, when we left, they were crying, and I was like, why did they cry? We didn't do anything for them. Like, we hardly helped them, and all of a sudden they were just crying when we left. And I didn't understand at the time why they were crying. But as I was writing this essay, it occurred to me that it was because of God's work through us, not our work. Our work did nothing. Well, it did some stuff, but very temporary stuff that our work did. But God's work through us in prayer and worship songs and things like that gave them hope, which is so much more permanent than concrete. We gave kids like a single stuffed animal. I had like a million stuffed animals as a kid, and that's such a temporary thing. But then we gave them hope through God. God gave them hope, and that's the reason they were crying, not because of anything that I did at all. And so it occurred to me that one of my very, very long goals in life would have been completely meaningless without God. If I had learned Spanish so that I could go to other countries and try to help people, it would have been meaningless, like absolutely meaningless, if I didn't allow God to work through me. And I realized that while I was writing college essays. So I was literally sitting there in my room. It was like midnight while I was writing this essay, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was just like a really big moment to me. Like, it was just such like a turning point event in my life. Honestly, writing that essay is something I'm not ever gonna forget. And so as I realized that, I was like, I really need to go to a Christian school. I need to go somewhere, because if I'm going to college to set myself up for the rest of my life, it's going to be meaningless if I don't do it with God, if I don't let God work through me. And so once I realized that, I immediately narrowed my choices down to Grand Canyon University and Liberty University. And then I went and I toured Liberty. I had already toured GCU. I toured Liberty. I really liked Liberty, but it just didn't feel the same. Like, when I went to GCU, I was like pumped up. I was like energized. I was like, yes, this is my future home. But when I went to Liberty, I was still really excited. I could totally see myself going to school there, but it just didn't feel like as good. Still felt really good. I totally could picture myself going to Liberty, but I was like, I think GCU is the one. So that was my college decision, and I'm super excited to go to GCU. I hope this helps you make your decision. It's something that took me a long time, and I didn't decide until March of my senior year. So don't feel like you have to decide soon. A lot of my friends already knew by like October of my senior year, and I was really confused how they knew so fast, because I hadn't even heard back from school, like all my schools, until February. So don't stress if you don't know where you want to go to college. You have lots of time to decide, and writing scholarship essays is a good way to decide. Really helps you learn about yourself, I've learned. So anyway, if you have any questions about like deciding your college, let me know. And I'm so excited to go to GCU next year. Let's up. Okay, bye guys.